Welcome to my channel, Purposeful Play, where I talk about all things early childhood education. I'm Danielle and I teach 4K in Wisconsin. And today I want to talk to you about assessments, observations, documenting, reporting, and conferences. All of that together. Right now I'm teaching 100% virtual, so I'm going to kind of share how I do things, how I'm doing things virtually this year. It would be slightly different if I was in the classroom. But for all of you that are out there doing virtual teaching, this is for you. So let's get started. I want to start off by telling you that we use the creative curriculum, teaching strategies creative curriculum in our classroom, in our district, and we use the gold assessment that goes along with that curriculum. And I thought I would just share that with you because that kind of lets you know what we are observing and assessing and documenting and how that is being reported to families. I should also tell you that our district is not requiring us to report on every objective. They are understanding that this virtual world, it's just not possible to observe certain things. And so they're not asking us to report on that, which is so fantastic and very understanding. I know there are some districts and sites that are asking families to observe their children and assess them and send their documentation in, which I don't know. I think families have enough going on that they should not be having to do that. That's just my opinion. So one thing I like to do is I like to create a table like this. And at the beginning of the year, I have a blank one saved in my Google Docs, and then I put in the children's, one box for every child, and then I printed out a whole bunch of them and have them in a clipboard with a pencil right with it all the time. And then as I'm seeing things, I just jot little notes down in that. So if we're reading a book and we're having conversations about what's going on, I write down, oh, this child answered this question, or they made a connection, or whatever it is. I jot down what they're saying, and then that later can be uploaded into the gold platform, I guess you call it. What do you call that? Where you input all your documentation. I tend to have one table for each objective and the objectives, the domains within that objective. So this one, it was identifying letters. And then what I do is as we're working, I say, oh, this kid Susie, we just played a game and she was able to identify these letters, and I just jot them down on here. And then I also have blank, I see that kids that have nothing in there, and I'm thinking, oh, I got to make sure that, in my next small group, or if we're in class, when we're playing a game, I may need to make sure that I sit with these kids while they're playing and just talk to them about what they're doing and get that documentation down in there. And then once I upload it or input into Gold online, then I just use another color and I cross it out, and that way I know that I've already inputted it. I like to do it this way because then I know who have documentation on and who I'm still missing. And it just keeps me kind of in check with what I still need to do. Another thing that I use to collect my documentation, to record my observations, sticky notes, big ones, little ones. This is just if I quickly need to jot something down, if I see something outside. Actually, when we're in class, I often take the clipboard out and record things that I see outside. But I am using these during my my small group meetings, just because sometimes, and large group meetings, just because there's something that I notice and I quickly need to jot it down, and I might not have one of my little tables ready to go. So that's one thing I do. And then another one is, this is I got off of prekinders.com. I've had it for years and years and years. And so as kids are able to identify the letters, I put a little check mark in one color. The whole term, it's in that one color. And then that's in the top left corner. And the bottom right corner, I put a check mark if they are able to identify the sound of the letter. So that's uppercase lowercase. And then again, I keep this in a file. I can pull it out for families during conferences. And then I just have a record of it. So those are some of my favorite ways of keeping documentation. Something else that I have is I have one Google Doc for each student. So as I have some of my small group meetings, right after them, I'll just type up some little notes in there, what we did, maybe some things that I think we could work on for next time, any observations that I have during that time that we have together. I like to just put that also in there because that really helps with conferences. So when we come to conferences, I have those notes that I had right after that meeting. And I also keep my conference notes right in that doc as well. So I type in, some of the strengths that I want to share, some things that we might be working on still, and then any questions that families have. It goes right in that doc. So it's all there for each child. I feel in this virtual world, it's really not possible. Maybe you have suggestions, I don't know, to take videos and pictures and upload those to Gold. So anybody have any suggestions for that? Be great. Okay, let's get into some of my favorite and easiest ways to get documentation. If you haven't seen my small group videos that gives you ideas for games and activities, I will link them below. I feel like they're good ideas. A lot of them are creative curriculum, the teaching strategies ideas. They might be a Mighty Minute or an intentional teaching card idea. And then some of them I've just kind of come up with on my own, but I think they're really helpful. And I'm gonna just share with you a couple of them. I had to grab this stick. I have my jumping jelly bean game at school right now, but I have sticks, popsicle sticks, the colorful ones, all in a bucket, and they have one for every letter of the alphabet, but then I also have some that have a jelly bean on them. So this is a game we play virtually as well. So I can reach into my bucket and I pull one out, and then the kids tell me what letter it is, or they might tell me what sound it is. Maybe they tell me what word they think starts with that letter, and then we move on to another stick. But if we have a jumping jelly bean, then everybody has to jump up. And we kind of talk, set ahead how many times, 10 times, 5 times, whatever we decide on. I've also done this with a Google slide where I have ovals that cover the letters or pictures, and jumping jelly beans also. Another thing I do with those Google slides, if we're playing Jump and Jelly Bean, is on the ovals, I put numbers. So when it's someone's turn in small groups, I say, oh, I want to look under number 7. And then I can say, 7, because then it has a color, what color is number 7? It's green. Okay. And I know that I can identify number 7. So I kind of hitting 2 birds with one stone. Is that what it is? Hitting 2 birds with one stone with that game. So that's one of my favorites. I play a game of what's missing. So I have, plastic letters, magnetic letters, numbers, and then I also I have this set at home. And so I lay out maybe 5 or 6 of them under my document camera. If you don't have a document camera, you need one because it's just makes life so much easier. I bought mine on Amazon and I can link it down below. I did pay for it with my own money, but it's so worth it. So what I do is I lay these out under my document camera, and then I have the kids close their eyes. I take one away and they have to tell me which one is missing. So they have to know the letters, and then also that, I don't know. It's been such a long day. I've been conferencing and Zooming all day. Anyways, they have to remember what's missing. And sometimes they ask for a clue, and I'll say, oh, it's the letter that says d, d, d. And so that is helpful too. Another game I play is what's missing. And I use, I've been using letter cards just because that's sort of the information I've needed lately. You can do it with numbers as well. These are the ones I have at home, but I have, 1,000,001 different kinds of letters at school. I lay out several of these under my document camera. And if you do not have a document camera, you need one. If you're teaching virtually, it is amazing to have. I will link the one that I got down below. I did spend my own money on it, but now I have one for ever and ever. So what I do is I lay them out, and I maybe 5 or 6 of them, and then I have them close their eyes, and I say, okay, I take 1 or 2 of them away. We start with 1, and then they have to tell me which one is missing. And they love it. They love to play games during small group time. And you know what? Everybody seems to get a good turn because they're so small that I get the information that I need during my small group. What's another game? 1, 2, 3, what do I see? So at school, I have black canvases, and that's what I often use under my document camera for this. I'm not at school today, and I don't have one home, so I'll just hold up a black piece of paper. The things tend to stand out more when they're on the black. So I grabbed just a variety of items, and then it's hard to see. Gosh, I should be using my document camera even to share with you guys. 1, 2, 3, what do I see? I see a and they have to look for something that starts with the P sound, a pen. So that's another thing that I love to do. Riddle-dee-dee, won't you make a rhyme with me? I say cat, you say, and singing that song together. And then also I do Hully Gully, how many? Oh, bummer. I left my paper clips somewhere. So you can lay out 5 items. It doesn't matter what they are. They don't have to be all the same. They could be anything you want, junk in your house, whatever. Holly Gully, how many? And you ask the child to close their eyes, and you take some away. So if you have, 5 paper clips and you take 2 away, then they open their eyes and they have to guess how many are missing. So, and then it's a great too, because then I know, okay, that kid already knows 5. They can take 5 apart and put it back together again. They can do that counting up or subtraction. So then you might add a few more. Maybe you put 7 down. Maybe you put 10 down. So that's a fun one. And then I reach into my bag and I pull one out. Do you know its name? Then give it a shout. And I hold up a letter or a number. And today, actually, we were using these, and we were using our wood pieces to build the letters. The wood pieces from Handwriting Without Tears, or Learning Without Tears, building our letters with that. And then we were tracing them, our wood pieces. And of course, I was using my document camera for that as well. Those are the games that I've been using recently in small groups and one-on-ones. When we're in our large groups and we're saying hello to each kid, I do a little pattern. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Danielle. And how are you today? And then I watch my screen to see which kids are able to follow my pattern. And then I might ask a kid to make a pattern. Okay, you create a pattern when we sing your name. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Danielle. So, or whatever they're doing. So they make a movement pattern. When we ask our question of the day, we have the kids count our yeses and nos. So then we can see, can they count? How high can they count? Can they count 1 to 1? And then, like I said, with the chart that I use, the table, just jotting down little notes when kids are answering questions or interacting with our read aloud. I can write those down. So those are some of the games and activities I have been recently doing and enjoying, and then just collecting data through my observations during those interactions with the kids. All right, for conferences this time, we actually did not have to share report cards. Like I said earlier, our administration has been very understanding. Our district actually this is the first year using gold. I've used it for 6 years before moving to Wisconsin. And then last year, my class piloted it, even though, I've already used it before, but I just was doing it again and testing it out, I guess. So this is the first year that we're supposed to be using it. We were supposed to be using it. But, with us all teaching virtually, it's just really not possible. So our administration is letting us kind of explore the Gold platform and sort of figure out how we're going to be collecting our data, doing our observations, inputting, finalizing our documentation, and that kind of stuff. And so we will be reporting second term. But for our conferences, like I said before, I like to talk about all the strengths that I've been seeing in their Seesaw activities and their posts that they're sharing in our large group and small group. And if I do one-on-ones with the kids, I share, what I'm noticing. I try to pick something from each of the sort of objectives, for learning and development. The social emotional part, that one's sometimes hard to find something, but I do my best to comment on something in that area. And then I sort of mentioned something that, their child might still be working on. And some of them are hard. And I often ask, this week I've been asking the families, what is something that you would like to see your child working on? And I don't know, I've gotten really great feedback from families on that. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is differentiation. And I don't know if anybody else is struggling with this, but when we are in the classroom and we're playing together, it is so easy to differentiate what you're doing with each child. You can meet each child's needs and where they are at in the classroom when you're playing, but if you're pushing out Seesaw activities to, how many kids do I have? 42 kids. I don't have the time to be pushing out, individual activities to each child or a group of kids. So it is my hope that the play activities, we provide families with daily play activities that they can choose to do or not do. I'm hoping that during those play activities that they are, making things a little bit easier, a little bit harder, changing things up. Maybe their child doesn't want to be doing some active activity. Maybe they prefer to play a game. Maybe they prefer to do something artistic, and you can be learning through their art. So we're providing a variety of activities, and that's kind of our hope, is that parents are differentiating their instruction. Some of them are not, and I'm realizing that they need a little bit more guidance in that. So next week, I'm going to host a parent meeting. It's going to be a 15-minute meeting on Zoom where families can come. I'm going to share ideas on how they can change activities for their child to meet their child's needs and meet them where they're at developmentally. So that's one thing I'm doing. The other thing is I'm sharing a Google Doc that has all kinds of information in it. It'll have the objectives for development and learning right there for them to see. I'm also going to talk to them about the color bands in that meeting. I know I'm jumping back to the meeting, but so that they understand that, my child actually does not need to know sight words in pre-K. Maybe that's something that might not be developmentally appropriate. Their child might be ready for it, but they don't have to be ready for it. Because I have some families who are like, oh my gosh, my kid is not reading yet. What can I do? It's okay. They don't have to be reading right now. So I want to share that with them. And then what else is in the doc? I have a whole long list of games that they can play. Games and activities that can work on some of those academic objectives that families just feel the pressure that their kids need to learn. So they're fun activities, but they're still learning in those play activities. I'll have to see if I'm able to link a Google Doc down below. I think I can, as long as I don't make it so that you can't edit it, because that would really stink. But I think if I share my Google Doc with you, you can make a copy for yourself. I'm going to try. We'll see how that goes. I think that's it. I have recorded this video in however long it took to record this video, because I am jumping on a another conference with the family in 12 minutes. Anybody else conferencing in their sweatpants? I am. I might fix my hair a little bit, but I gotta get ready for my conference. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, please ask them or share your ideas. What are you doing to conference with families? What are you doing to keep track of where your students are at? I'd love to hear ideas. I'm always looking for new things. So give it a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe, because it is my hope that I put out one video a week, even in these crazy busy times. I'm loving doing this. I'm learning myself too and challenging myself when I'm doing these things. So that's it. We'll see you next time. Have a happy day.